Okay, Comp Sci 201, Section 40, Spring 2022 at UMBC. This is the second video in a series about using Jupyter Notebooks to do Project 3. We picked Jupyter Notebooks for these assignments because it's a good tool to get to know for presenting research results, interim results. It's a good way to describe what you're doing as well as um, using the Python coding skills you have. They integrate, Jupyter Notebooks integrate both descriptive text, so you can explain the results, with the active real-time Python code, which can be run at any time to prove the results are what you say. In a previous video, we showed you how to get a Jupyter Notebook started on your computer. What we're going to do now is start working through that a little bit. So in this case, I have already created a Jupyter Notebook. I've called it Project 3. That's from the previous video. And now I want to start doing Project 3 work. The assignment says to start with a markdown cell and document yourself. It's your standard project heading. In Jupyter, there are two types of cells, markdown and code. Cells that are marked down are descriptive text that tell the reader what's going to happen or explain what your results were. Code cells contain actual Python code that you will run. By default, when you open a new Jupyter notebook, you get one new cell, and it is a code cell. You can tell that it's a code cell by the in square brackets. That's the way a new code cell looks. So we're going to change this to a markdown cell by clicking this button cell, clicking cell type, and saying make it a markdown cell. And you can see the in has disappeared. This is no longer a code cell. This is a markdown cell. Now, there's a cheat sheet available in the assignment directory on how markdown works, but here's a simple example. You use hashtags to indicate the level of a heading. One hashtag by itself is for a title. So when I say one hashtag, and now I'm going to say CNSC 201, Section 40, Spring 2022, Project 3. It's a long title, but this is my title. Two hashtags is a primary heading. If you're familiar with Word or Google Docs or similar, it's what you would call a heading 1. Introduction to the project. Then I'm going to write some text. This Jupyter notebook is my submission for Project 3. I want to make sure I have a break here. I don't want to rely on any particular formatting program to put a line break in, so I'm going to insert a less than, BR, greater than. That tells Jupyter to put a break in here. We will see what happens. Now, this is raw input to Markdown. If you want to see what it looks like, simply click the Run button. Run executes any cell. It executes the code in a Python code cell, or it interprets the Markdown in a Markdown cell to see what it looks like. And so when I click Run, you can see this is what a title looks like. This is what a heading 1 looks like. This is the basic normal text that I put in, and the break, because I put it there, was the new line. You can format Markdown with headings at any level. You can do bulleted lists. You can do numbered lists. You can do anything. And so your assignment in this project is to do enough text formatting to make a nice, legible, understandable report that says this is what we're doing. Okay, anytime you run a cell, Jupyter Notebooks by default adds another empty code cell for you to run. You can insert cells wherever you want, but right now we'll just show this, and we'll actually run Python code. From the beginning of the class back in January, so long ago, we know, excuse me, the first thing we always write anytime we learn a new programming language or tool is we make the computer print hello world. So in Python, and by the way, this is by default running Python 3.8, so it should be very similar to what you're used to in your programming so far. We just say print hello world. When we click run to run this cell, it executes the Python code, and there we go. It prints hello world. Now there's a new, again, it will automatically include a new code cell. So in our new code cell, we're going to need some libraries to make project 3 work, like we need the log function. So the log function's in math. So let's import the math library. Let's import a numerical methods data science package called NumPy, N-U-M-P-Y, and another data science package called Pandas, which stands for panel data. We'll import all of them, and now we will run that cell. Now, the cells by default, when you click run, will run one at a time. Okay, so you have to watch it. And oops, we can find an error. And the error is, this is, by the way, Jupyter Notebook error messages are not particularly friendly. This is a case where I misspelled the name of the package. I left off the A. It's pans. And so it told me it has no module named pans. This is what an error looks like when you run a specific cell and it doesn't work right. We'll pretend I did this on purpose. Now I'll go back and fix this and spell it correctly and rerun that cell. And now it works properly. Now you can see, there were 3 import statements. There were no output statements. So of course, there's no output for Jupyter to show me. So this is an example of a markdown cell and a code cell. Let's make this next cell a markdown cell and say cell type, markdown, hashtag what we've done so far. Now this is going to be a title. I probably don't want this to be a title, so let's make it a heading 1. What we've done so far. So far, we have imported the modules that we will need to do this project. Now we need to get serious about reading in the 10 data files and starting to calculate the term, frequency, inverse, document frequency, values, so that we can tell what the important thoughts in each file are. Okay. And I can edit this all I want if I do something like this, space, hyphen, space, 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 hyphen, space. Okay. When I run that cell, you can see that what that space hyphen space did is it created a bullet point. So now I have a bulleted list. These are some of the things you can do with Markdown in your Jupyter Notebook. And again, you have your Python code. As I noted, when you click run, it runs only the current cell. You can rerun these. You can run these cells independently. If you wanted to run the entire project at once, you can play around with these things. Insertion cell. Under cell, if you click run cells, it will run all of the cells in your program, rerunning the entire program together. Okay. You can select, you can insert, you can run all, run above, run below, whatever. So there's a lot of ways to do things. So this ends the second video in the series And we will now move on to do some other things like reading in the data files. So thank you.